Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this episode of All Things Lean with your host Madhulika Rajrahan. In our last episode, we talked about how Google makes use of external cognition, and in today's session, we will talk about the Gestalt Principles. Gestalt principles are principles or laws of human perception that describe how humans group similar elements, recognize patterns, and simplify complex images when we perceive objects. Designers use the principles to organize content on websites and other interfaces so it is aesthetically pleasing and easy to understand. In today's session, we will learn about the Gestalt principles. Gestalt is German for unified whole. German psychologists Max Wertheimer, Kurt Koffka, and Wolfgang Kohler created the Gestalt principles in the 1920s. They wanted to understand how people make sense of the confusing things they see and hear. They identified a set of laws that address the natural compulsion to find order in disorder. According to this, the mind informs what the eye sees by perceiving a series of individual elements as a whole. Graphic designers quickly embraced Gestalt principles, using them to create eye-catching designs with well-placed elements. Gestaltism philosophy is not the same as Aristotle saying the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. In Gestaltism, the whole is different and may even be completely unrelated to its parts. Gestalt principles are an essential part of visual design. There are more than 10 overlapping principles. We will discuss 6 of them today and perhaps another 6 in the next session. The first one being emergence, closure, which is reification, common region, continuity or continuation, fifth being proximity, and sixth being multi-stability. Now let's look at each one of them in detail. Emergence. The principle of emergence is central to Gestalt thinking. We perceive the world without thinking too much about understanding every small thing around us. This ability to quickly make sense of our environment is essential for survival. Imagine if we spent hours analyzing our world to understand what was going on, wild animals would have devoured our ancestors in no time. Instead of interpreting each blotch separately, we immediately identify a Dalmatian from a collection of oddly shaped black blotches. In other words, the Dalmatian emerges from the seemingly random scene. Unilever's logo is composed of several smaller shapes, but the letter U emerges from the combination of those smaller elements. Looking further, we may see many small icons emerge from these abstract shapes. Closure or reification. We prefer complete shapes, so we automatically fill the gaps between the elements to perceive a complete image. That's how we can see the whole first. You can use closure creatively to gain users' trust and admiration. Users will appreciate it when they see pleasing wholes made from cleverly placed elements like lines, dots, or shapes. Iconic logos like IBM's and World Wildlife Fund's are great examples of closure. IBM's logo has blue lines in 3 stacks. WWF's logo has a black shape on a white background that we interpret as the shape of a panda. Common region. We perceive elements that are in the same closed region as one group. To apply this principle to our interfaces, group related objects together in closed area to show that they are separate from other groups. We can see the principle of common region applied in Facebook posts. Likes, comments, and other interactions appear within the boundaries of one post, and so stand apart from the other posts. Continuity or continuation. The continuity principle of Gestalt states that we group elements that seem to follow a continuous path in a particular direction. The human eye follows the paths, lines, and curves of a design and prefers to see a continuous flow of visual elements rather than separated objects. The human eye continues to follow the path even if an obsolete hides it or its flow is broken by interlinking or bisecting visual elements. Proximity. In proximity, we group closer together elements, separating them from those farther apart. When you group elements in your design, users will see it as one distinct entity on the screen. An example of proximity in design is the Girl Scout logo, with its three faces clustered in profile, two green and one white. Multi-stability. When images are ambiguous and present two or more meaningful interpretations, we experience the sensation of switching between them. We cannot see the multiple versions simultaneously. This switching sensation is called multi-stability. My wife and my mother-in-law is a famous optical illusion that demonstrates multi-stability. Depending on where you focus, you might see either a young lady looking away or an elderly one looking sideways. The Gestalt principles are vital in user experience design. When you design interfaces, users must be able to understand what they see and find what they want at a glance. With this, we come to an end to this episode of All Things Lean. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the comment section on what you'd like to hear more. Until next time, this is your host, Madhulika Rajahan, signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead.